Hello and welcome to Child Psychology. My name is Dr. Maureen Gray, and I am very excited to be your professor this semester. In this welcome and overview video, I want to start with sharing a little bit of information about me so you know that I'm more than just a two-dimensional square on your computer screen right now. Then I will talk a little bit about the syllabus, and we'll end with a typical week in this class. First, I will talk a bit about my educational history. I'm local, so I grew up in Naperville, Illinois, the southwest suburbs, and I went to college at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where I earned a bachelor's in both psychology and statistics. From there, I went on to graduate school at the University of California, Los Angeles, where I got a PhD in cognitive psychology. From there, I worked for about a year at College of DuPage over in Glen Ellen, and then in 2022, I landed my dream job here at Elgin Community College as a full-time professor. I really mean that. This is my dream job. I am so excited to be a part of the Elgin Community College community. In my spare time, one of my favorite things to do is to be outside. I love to travel to go to cool outdoor spaces. This is a picture taken in the cloud forests in Costa Rica. Specifically, this is Monteverde, which is very close to a really cool volcano and hot springs and a bunch of fun stuff. I served as an assistant director on a study abroad trip to Costa Rica in 2023, and I'm probably going to keep talking about this until I manage to get myself back there because it was just incredible. A beautiful country, and the people there really, like, they love the natural world and they preserve it in a way that was just such a unique experience to see people who really love the land that they live on. More recent picture, this is a picture of me and my partner in the Pacific Northwest from, like 3 weeks ago, I guess. Over the summer, we went out to go camping with some friends for one of their birthdays, and it was just a real delight. If you've never been to the Pacific Northwest, I recommend. It's real good over there. The opposite of outdoor activities now. First is taking care of these two geriatric cats who absolutely would die if you left them outside. They're both very high needs, and I love them. The one on the left, the black cat, his name is Kibby. He is so old that I'm actually calling him decrepit. He is 18 years old, and he just woke up from a nap, so you may hear him periodically like howling in the background. That's just a thing that he does now. Very fun. The other cat that you see, the Siamese looking one, that is Piece of Toast, so named because she looks like a burned piece of toast. Right? Someone just left her in there a little too long. You'll probably never see nor hear Toast because she is a closet cat. She likes to hide in the closet. If I manage to get her on camera, I will absolutely show her to you, but she basically sleeps either in our closet or in the cat bed by the sunny window all day. That's her life. I also am an avid reader. Some of my favorite books from the summer have been, I read Our Share of Night at the beginning of summer by Mariana Enriquez, I think. She wrote this really pretty disturbing horror novel that has a couple scenes in it that I like can't get out of my head, but in the best way possible. And then what was another thing I loved this summer? On the total opposite end of the spectrum, I really loved The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. That was like a fun romance novel, very good palate cleanser after Our Share of Night made me feel like I was haunted. Really, really fun. I also really like to play video games and board games. If you can see behind me, oops, on this side, yes, if you can see behind me on this side, that's our board game cabinet. or shelf, I guess. It is full to the brim of board games. Our favorite board game right now, my partner and I, is actually based on a video game called Slay the Spire. This video game is a roguelike deck builder, so when you die, and you have to start over, which I thought I would hate until I started playing it, and then I was like, oh no, I can play this for like 10 hours, which I've never felt with a video game before. It's been quite an experience. So I have a ton of hours on Slay the Spire, and it's been a really fun thing to do with my partner as well. Next is in my spare time, I really love to spend time with my family. This picture was taken in 2023, but it is the only one I have of everyone all together, so please bear with me. On the end, on the left, in the red, is my brother Doug. Doug graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign as well with a degree in psychology. Standing next to my brother Doug is my dad, Dr. Ken Gray. He is a professor at College of DuPage, and he is a professor of psychology. Next to my dad, also in black, in the back row, is my youngest brother, G. G graduated from North Central College with a degree in psychology, but also philosophy, because G likes to mix things up a little bit. In front of G in the white is my mom, Karen Gray. I actually don't think she's even taken a psychology class, but she sure gets enough of it with us at home. She works in database marketing. Next to my mom in black is Marin. Marin is Doug's now fiance, which if I think about that for too much, I will absolutely make myself cry because I'm a big sap. I'm so excited for them. They are getting married next year. Marin is a physical therapist, actually, so no psychology. On the other side of my mom is my partner, Charlie. Charlie is a physician assistant working in general surgery, although he jokes that he feels like he has an honorary degree in psychology for how much I talk about it. Then there's me. Behind me are my future in-laws, Tom and Karen. They both live in St. Augustine, Florida, and they are retired, and boy, does that look nice. Tom spends a lot of time building extremely large and intricate connects towers that have like motorized pieces to them. They're really pretty incredible. And Karen has been spending a lot of her time in retirement doing tours of the St. Augustine area. It's a very historically significant place. And she actually just published a book of her tours, which is available on Amazon. And then finally, the last person on the end there is my future sister-in-law, Colleen. Colleen just got a new job maybe 3 weeks ago or so. So I'm not going to get her title right, but she is a big animal lover, and she works right now as a coordinator for several different veterinary hospitals, all in the St. Augustine and Jacksonville area. Her house is just how she wants it, full of, I think, now 7 dogs. She's fostering some kittens. She has a bunny. Like, it's just a house full of love. The last thing that I wanted to share with you is that I really like to exercise. This is a video of me and my brothers and my dad doing some box jumps together. And the next video that I want to show you is from a race that I competed in earlier this year. Most of the exercising that I do is in pursuit of my goals as an obstacle course racer. An obstacle course race is not what it sounds like. It's a race, but after you run for a little bit, they're going to throw some obstacles in your way. Like, for example, a rig that you see me traversing right here. Or you might have to crawl under some barbed wire, or maybe carry some heavy stuff for a little while. It is a really fun way to be active and to compete. Okay, So now let's go on to talking a little bit about the class. Before I zoom in to talking about child psych specifically, I want to start with a rhetorical question that you've maybe never considered before. What is a credit hour? You are probably aware that this is a 3 credit hour class, but what does that actually mean? Um, to understand this a little better, let's ask a related question. Why does taking 12 credit hours make you a full-time student? Well, you may not know this, but there is a capital O official definition of a credit hour. This definition comes from the Department of Education. By definition, a credit hour corresponds to 1 hour of in-class time and 2 hours of out-of-class time. What that means is, for every credit hour in the course, you should be spending 2 hours of time on that class outside of being in class. So that's spending 2 hours doing things like reading the textbook, taking quizzes, working on homework assignments, right? For every single credit hour in that class. Now, I've been a student. I know that most folks do not spend those 2 hours outside of the class for every credit hour. The point and the purpose of me talking about this now is to try to set some expectations for you about this class. But let's actually answer that question. Why does 12 credit hours mean that you're a full-time student? Right? So let's say you're taking 12 credit hours. That means you're spending 12 hours in class. Then, by definition, a credit hour is means for each one of those hours you're in class, you're spending 2 hours outside of class working on it. So that's 12 plus 12 times 2, which is equal to 12 plus 24. When you add those together, you get 36 hours. That's a full-time job, right? That is absolutely a full-time job. So when we say full-time student, what we mean is you're spending as much time on school as if it were a full-time job. So now, specifically within child psych, how does that translate? This is a little bit different because our class is online, so we're not going to be meeting face-to-face. However, I've still built the class with about 3 hours of class time per week. You can think of class time in this online format as things that you would be doing in class. So for example, watching lecture videos, or working on assignments that I give my students during class, right? So a lot of the stuff that I would be doing during class, I'm counting that as our in-class time each week. So about 3 hours of that, plus 3 times 2, which equals 6 hours of out-of-class work. So that out-of-class work is things like reading the textbook, completing homework assignments, taking quizzes, and any kind of studying that you need to do to make sure that you're keeping up with the class and that you're prepared for exams and other assessments. In case you're not keeping track, I will do the math for you. Yes, the 3 hours of in-class plus 6 hours out-of-class time is 9 hours. This class is built with the expectation that you can put 9 hours of work per week, every week into it. It says in my notes here that I'm supposed to pause for laughter. Because I know that you don't have that kind of time, right? I know that you're busy. I know that you're probably taking other classes. I know that you might have a job, you might have family responsibilities. You have lots of other things that are pulling on your very valuable time and attention. I am talking about this now in the very first lecture because I want you to try to get close. If you are sitting there watching this video thinking to yourself, well, shoot, Dr. Gray, I only have 2 hours a week. That's all I can do. I urge you to reconsider. I don't know if it's possible for anyone to be successful in this class in that amount of time. Okay, now on to the syllabus. Brief note, this is not a replacement for reading the syllabus. You are responsible for knowing what is in the syllabus. I actually see it a bit like a contract that I am entering into with you. Now, wouldn't you like to know what's in that contract, right? What are you signing yourself up for? What are the terms? What are my expectations? And what are you going to be doing? What are you going to get after the class is over if you do the things in that contract, right? That's what you can see in the syllabus. To be a little more specific, here's a bunch of questions that you might want to know the answer to. How many points do you need to get an A or a B or a C? What are the exams like? When are the exams? Can you use ChatGPT to help you? Why should you not trust the percentage you see in your gradebook in D2L? The answer to all of these questions and more are in the syllabus. I am going to show you the syllabus very briefly. I'm not going to read it for you. Oops, that's my email. I'm not going to read it for you, but I am just going to show you how to find it and how to navigate it. So the syllabus is available in a couple of different places. Let me make sure I'm in the student view. Here we go. The first way you can find the syllabus is by going to the content area. You can click the course welcome syllabus and D2L help space before the course goes live. This will be updated with the fall 2025 course syllabus. The other space that you can find it is under the week 1 content area. Here I'm going to post a whole bunch of stuff that I'll talk about in later on in this video, but one thing that you'll see is the course syllabus. The course syllabus is available as a Google Doc, and I did that largely because I think that makes it more accessible for quick access, right? It has this really helpful outline on the left-hand side where you can just directly navigate to anything that you are curious about, right? Maybe you're curious about exams. You can click there, it'll bring you here. Maybe you want to know what the makeup exam or late policy is, right? All of that stuff is in this syllabus, and you can also search it by using Command F to actually look for words like late to try to see for yourself where this information is in the syllabus. Whenever you have a question about the course, I encourage you to check the syllabus first. That's going to be faster than waiting for a response from me. If the answer is not in the syllabus, of course, please do ask me. That is what I'm here for. But it will be faster for you if you check that syllabus to see if the answer is already present. Now, I'm going to zoom into a couple different pieces on the syllabus just to emphasize them. The first thing that I want to talk about are the general course objectives. These exist to ensure that all of the different child psychology classes at ECC accomplish the same very important goals. But that's not to say that all child psych classes here are the same. In fact, I think they're pretty different from one another. And one of the reasons for this is because different instructors place different emphasis on these different objectives. So for example, I am really big on number 2, understand and apply psychological principles to personal, social, and multicultural issues. Have you ever taken a class that makes you say, oh my God, when am I ever going to use this stuff? It's pointless. I mean, I have. I imagine you have as well. It is my sincere hope that that will not happen in this class. You can use the content that you learn in this class every day. If you do the work and you engage thoughtfully with the material, psychology has the power to change your life. And yes, I know I'm being dramatic, but I do kind of mean that. One quick word about the textbook. There is a required textbook for this class. It is called Child Development and Introduction by Santrock et al. There are 2 options. You can either get the 15th edition or the 16th edition of the textbook. They are both equally good for use in the class. So don't tell anyone I told you this, but I just want you to get whichever one is cheaper, okay? Get whichever version of the book that you can get for the cheapest price. Um, Anyway, you can get the book at ECC, but you can also get it from other retailers. The chapter numbering system is different between the 15th edition and the 16th edition. So instead of providing assignments by chapter numbers, I am using chapter topics to designate the coverage for an assignment. If that doesn't make sense to you, I hope that it will make some more sense once you have a book in front of you and you can actually look at the assignment instructions. But you can always ask me for to clarify if you have any confusion. Next, I want to talk a little bit about technology in this course. There are some things that I imagine you will already be familiar with, but possibly some new stuff too. Something I hope you're familiar with is D2L. This is where we're going to post things like announcements, the weekly checklist for each week so you know what you're supposed to be doing, assignment instructions, and the places where you're going to be uploading and submitting your assignments. The next piece that might be a little bit different than some of your other classes or something that you are used to is that this course has a Google Drive. It is not required that you access the Google Drive, but I really hope that you are going to find it useful. I am a huge proponent of I organize all of my my stuff on Google Drive, and I just want to share that organizational scheme with you. I put tons of stuff on that Google Drive for the course. All the lecture videos are uploaded there. There's lecture slides, like PDFs, if you want to take notes directly on those PDFs. I also provide handouts and assignment instructions, etc. Let me show you the Google Drive real quick so you can see what it's like. You can access the Google Drive in a couple of ways. One, there's a link in the syllabus, not surprising. There is also a link in the first week's content area right here, but more likely what you will do is return to the course home page, and on the left-hand side, you'll see a link that says PSY-212-online Google Drive for Students. If you click that link, it will bring you to the Google Drive for your class. And here we have all that good stuff that I just mentioned, right? One specific resource that I want to point you to is the schedule at a glance. This schedule is something that shows you everything all in one place, right? It has all of the videos and activities you're going to be doing, the reading that's assigned this week, the quiz that's assigned this week, assignments, what's due this week, and whether or not you have a discussion board assignment, right? Everything for the whole semester is available on this one Google Sheet. Now, some of my students have told me that looking at that Google Sheet makes them feel like throwing up. If that's you, if you find that overwhelming, you never have to look at it again. That's fine. My brain loves a spreadsheet. Like, it loves to see everything all at once and get that overview so I can like put important dates in my calendar right away. It's just the kind of nerd that I am. So I organize my classes this way. This is what I do at the start of the semester. I set up that Google Sheet and I plan like, okay, when are these assignments going to take place? When is everything due? How can I spread stuff out over the semester? So I figured I would make that available to you in case that helps you as well. Okay, and finally, the last piece of technology that I want to talk about is Discord. This is something that I imagine you are not used to in a course setting, even if you use it in your personal life. Discord is a channel-based messaging platform, and we are going to be using it for announcements, for answering questions about course content or assignments, organizing group work, and direct messaging. If you're not familiar with it, I really hope that you're going to find it easy to use. There are instructions and walkthroughs in the course introduction and Discord assignment, and I'm also going to record a video that walks through exactly how we're going to be using it. Discord has a couple of options for how you can access it. You can use it in your browser if you don't want to download yet another app, which I get. But you can also download an app to make it more seamless. You can use a desktop app on your computer, like I have, and an app on your phone, like I also have. The reason that we're going to be using Discord is that for number one, it will make it much easier for you to stay in touch with me. It will also make it easier for you to get in touch with your classmates, and I'll talk about that in a subsequent slide. For very boring and technical reasons, I cannot get email push notifications on my phone from ECC, which means if you send me an email, I'll get it and I'll respond to it, but it will probably take me a little bit longer. On the other hand, I get Discord notifications on my phone, and when I wear a watch, I get them on my watch. So if you send me a DM or a direct message on Discord, I will probably reply to that much more quickly. The only thing that we should note here is that there's a special requirement for talking about grades. Because of some rules at ECC, we are not allowed to discuss grades over Discord. We have to use your ECC email address to my ECC email address. So if you have a question about grades, use email. But for literally everything else, please use Discord. If you have a question about course content, you can post that on the public course questions channel. If you have a question about assignment, same deal. If you have a personal question that you need an answer for, you can send me a direct message, right? It's just much easier for you to get in touch with me using Discord. Here is the summary of the course requirements. This is reprinted from your syllabus, but with a more fun color, orange, you know. And there are a couple things I want to highlight here. The first is that there are 1,000 points total in the class to make it easy for you to figure out how much each assignment is worth as a proportion of your grade, right? So you can see, oh, okay, we're going to get 140 points from completing quizzes. That means that 140 divided by 1,000, that's 14% of your overall grade from quizzes, right? There's more detail in the syllabus about all of these assignments, and you'll hear more about them as they are actually assigned. But for now, I'll just mention there are 2 exams over the course of the semester, a midterm during week 8 and a final exam during finals week. These exams are open note and open book, but do not underestimate them. They are challenging. Let's see. The other thing I will mention about quizzes right now is that only your highest score counts on the quiz. You can take them an unlimited number of times, and only your highest score counts. I really encourage you to retake these quizzes. It's an excellent study tool. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the other assignments and requirements in this lecture video, and others when they are actually assigned. The first one I want to mention is discussion board posts. Engaging in discussion is a very, very important part of your experience in this course, and accordingly, you will get a lot of points for doing this and for being alive, for being attentive to your fellow students. 12 out of the 16 active weeks of this semester, you're going to post on the discussion board. The requirement is to make 5 posts total per week, and those posts can be any combination of original posts in response to my prompt or replies to other students. These discussions will take place on D2L. Somewhere around the second week of the class, I am going to assign you to a small group, and you are going to be collaborating with this small group for the remainder of the semester. The reason that I am assigning small group work, I'll talk a little bit about that in a future lecture, but I really don't want anyone to feel like you are taking this class completely by yourself and there is no one else in this online class with you, because that's not true. There are like 30 of you. There are a lot of other students in this class, and I want you to have the opportunity to make some connections with some of the people around you to see how they are experiencing the course content, maybe similarly or differently from yourself. So because this is an online class, you are going to have to be collaborating remotely on these short group projects. That doesn't mean that you're going to have to find a way to meet up in person, although you absolutely can, and I have had some students in the past collaborate to meet over synchronously using Discord. You also can work asynchronously, but regardless of what method your group chooses, using Discord will be invaluable for this collaboration. There are 6 total group activities this semester, and each one is worth 15 points. Because we're working in a remote class, I'm giving you a little bit longer to work on these assignments. They usually span 1 to 2 weeks. The more simple ones are going to be within 1 week, but if it's a little bit more complex, I'll give you 2 weeks to complete them. No matter what, they're always going to be due to D2L by Sunday night. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of stuff so far. How are you going to be successful in this class? 3 things. 1, do what I ask you to do. 2, do it how I ask you to do it. And 3, do it when I ask you to do it. Now, these 3 things are so simple so as to be almost insulting to you, but I really do not mean them that way. So let me explain. Number 1, do what I ask you to do. I cannot tell you the number of people that fail my class because they don't complete the work. If you make a solid effort, if you turn assignments in, you will pass. I would imagine that most of you want to do more than just pass, though, right? That brings me to number 2. Do it how I ask you to do it. I am a cognitive psychologist, and when I was in graduate school, I did research on educational applications of cognitive psychology. What that basically means is I'm an expert in how people learn. So the methods that I'm teaching you in this class and the recommendations that I'm giving you for how to study or how to complete assignments, it's not just for fun. It's because the stuff that I'm teaching you is backed by decades and decades of research. And then finally, number 3, do it when I ask you to do it. This is also based on research to help you learn more effectively, but it's also just a genuine piece of advice. Spread out your workload so that you don't fall behind and get overwhelmed. In an online class, I think that's a lot harder to do because you have to be on your own. You're on your own in managing your time in a way that you're less so in an in-person class. But the actual last secret thing of how you're going to be successful is to remember that I am a resource. It is my literal job to help you succeed. But beyond this being my job, this is something that I love to do. I am a professor because I love people. I love students, and I love helping students. So if there is something that I can do to help you to be more successful or to improve your experience in the course, I want to know what it is. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me. One way that you can get in touch with me is through my office hours. This is time that I set aside specifically for you. You can come to my office hours to ask questions about the course, about a career in psychology, or to just say hi and trade some book recommendations. I'm fine with that too. There are both online and in-person options. I'm not going to share the schedule because no one will remember it, but it's available in the syllabus and on Discord. If my office hour schedule does not work for you, I have 2 hours available each week specifically for appointments. So send me a message to let me know that you want to make an appointment and we will find some time. All right, at last, let's go through a typical week in this course. What is it going to look like from your perspective? This course works on a Sunday to Sunday schedule, which means each Sunday night at 11:59 p.m., I am going to release the material for the upcoming week, and deadlines will be the following Sunday at 11:59 p.m. There are some exceptions, just two, for the first week of the class and the last week with finals, but that's all on D2L. Within each week, I am going to provide you with an ordered checklist that tells you everything that you need to do. There will be suggested deadlines within that checklist so that you have a little bit easier of a time actually spreading out that workload. But the hard deadline for everything is always going to be a Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Again, except for that first week exception. So now let me show you the D2L page so that you can see where this stuff is. I recommend that you get in a habit of going to the content area each week on Monday morning to see what's in store for you that week. At the top of each week's content area, I will sometimes provide a message or some information to give context to what you're going to do that week. I also will post the number of points that are available in the class at the top of each week's content area. The reason I'm doing this is because D2L does not calculate your grade correctly if you are missing assignments. If you are missing an assignment, D2L will act as if that assignment does not exist when it calculates your grade. And as a result, it will give you an inflated estimate of your overall grade. Right? So if you ever want to know how you are doing in the class, you can always divide the number of points that you have earned by the total points possible, and I'll always post that points possible at the top of each week. Here is that weekly plan that I was talking about. So here you're going to see laid out for you on each day what you should be doing and the suggested completion deadlines. Below that, you're going to see everything that's assigned this week. Here is where I'm going to put the welcome and course introduction video that I'm recording right now, and some various other videos that are also assigned this week. You can also see the reading that's assigned this week, quizzes, and any assignments. Finally, at the very bottom, you'll see everything that is due this week. So what do you absolutely need to have finished if you want to be staying on track? Okay. I think the only last thing that I wanted to talk about is the late policy. This late policy exists up until week 14. Until week 14, you have a 1-week grace period for all assignments. And what that means is within 1 week of the deadline, you can turn an assignment in and there's no penalty at all, right? It doesn't matter what the reason is that you missed the deadline. You have a 1-week grace period for everything. After week 14, you're now no longer allowed to turn in work that is from before week 14. So that's when that cutoff is for all of the work from the beginning of the semester. After week 14, we now have 2 weeks left. You can't turn in any old assignments anymore, but you still can turn in assignments that are late from weeks 15 or 16, right? Once we get closer to that deadline, I will remind you and explain further how this works. If you have any questions in the meantime, please do ask me. The only special caveat that you should know about this late policy is that, yes, it applies to everything except for discussion board assignments. Discussion board assignments are going to be available during the grace period. You don't get any points off, but they will close after that grace period is over. The reason for that is because I want to maintain the feeling that this is an active discussion, and it doesn't feel like an active discussion if you make a post on something in September and then 2 months later in November someone replies, right? So that's the reason for closing that grace period. But okay, I think that's all I wanted to talk about in this welcome and overview video. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining the class. Welcome one more time. I'm very excited to get to know you this semester.